so I'll get right to it. Um,
Okay.
so Okay, so before we talk about you, I had to confirm something. In the press release that we were sent about Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling, there's a mention of Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. Is he back on board once again?
Scott will be a part of our WrestleCon, um, our signing and things like that. So I think it's just that weekend.
Okay. I mean, speaking of him, you worked with him obviously during Slammiversary. Is he really as crazy as people make him out to be?
Yes, as
Fair.
people make him out to be.
Do you have any crazy stories about him?
I don't. Obviously, just from what you saw at Slammiversary last year, was Scott and I came together as a team, and I thought we had some crazy antics that happened in that match, but we left it all in the ring in Orlando.
Oh, cool. Cool. So, let's get right to it then. So when you were in India last, the time you wrestled in India, was that the first time you had wrestled since Tough Enough?
Yes, when I had my exhibition in India, that was the first time I had actually. No, I take it back. It wasn't the first time that I wrestled some Tough Enough. I had two, maybe three matches in WWE on SmackDown. But as after that, I mean, that was like 2004 or five. So it's been quite a long time since I had done any sort of inside the ring. No practice for the Swanton. Just went up and did it in the ring in Mumbai and had a lot of fun.
Very cool. So will we see you wrestling a lot more as the Impact Grand Champion, or are you going to be taking more of a spiritual approach to wrestling?
Well, I think I'll take a more spiritual approach. I think that the Grand Championship was something that was gifted to me by Matt Seidel. It was unexpected, but I love being the Grand Champion. So I don't think that I want to put it on the line and risk losing the championship that I worked so hard for.
Okay. So how did the whole alliance with Matt Seidel come about? Is it something the two of you wanted, or I mean, is it something the creative came up with? How did the whole thing happen?
Well, it was something that was talked about, and an opportunity arose for Matt to have his one true spirit guide and someone that's helped him get to the point of being a double champion and the opportunity to really thrive in his career. And I think everything that you've seen so far, we're just kind of hitting the tip of the iceberg, if you will, with Matt Seidel and his one true spirit guide.
Okay. So when you were in India, like you were here with the previous management, the mantra was "Make Impact Great Again." How optimistic are you about the current management as opposed to the previous one, and does the same motto still hold?
Well, it's an interesting motto or an interesting way to look at things. To say make it great again would be to say that it wasn't great, good, or anything over the past few years. And for those of us that have been there for the last 4 or 5 years, we've worked hard. With limited resources and limited, opportunities to do new things. And when you look at the things that were being done before the newer regime came along in the beginning of last year, there were some things that were happening that were exciting.
Right,
The wedding of Braxton Sutter and Allie and Laurel Van Ness and the things that happened with Maria, that was all exciting things that
right.
were happening. So then along comes Make Impact Great Again, and it lasted for 6, 7 months, and now it's not there anymore, and now we're on this. I don't even think there's a motto, or it's just an opportunity to work hard, make great television, do things that are logical, do things the right way, put emphasis on digital content, put emphasis on one night only, put emphasis on Twitch, and work hard, cross the T's, dot the I's, and make sure that everything is done the right way. And that doesn't need a motto or a catchphrase. It just needs hard work.
Right. But now that Don Callis is on board and all of these exciting things are happening, like Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling, because of his affiliation with New Japan, can we expect something in that realm as well?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not being coy. I just don't. You would have to ask Don that. If that opportunity is something that's going to be presented, that's a question for Don.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so how did you find out that JB would no longer be on board for Impact Wrestling, and what was your immediate reaction?
My immediate reaction was that I was happy for him. I can't remember who called me in the morning, and it was just to tell me that we had to do a change in our VO schedule, and that Sanjay was coming in. I was happy for JB. I've talked to JB a few times since then, and I'm happy for him. But I'm also happy for Impact because JB leaving opened up an opportunity for Sanjay Dutt to come along and show everyone his skills as a color commentator, and I think he's done an outstanding job thus far, and it's only really been just the beginning. And wrestling commentary is very hard because you
Right.
have to be dialed into every storyline that's happening on Impact. Not only all the storylines that are happening, but all the different things that are happening with, shows in California or shows in Canada or shows at WrestleCon or shows for Twitch or GWN. And Sanjay has a good idea of what's happening, when it's happening, and he's dialed into what's happening in our company, and that translates each and every week on Impact.
Yes, your chemistry is absolutely off the charts. But here's my question. So, when he recovers from his injury, will he still be behind the desk, or, will he go back to being just on screen talent?
Well, it's the question again that Sanjay would have to answer for himself. Does he have anything left that he wants to accomplish as a competitor? Does he want to be a two-time X Division champion? I see him looking at my grand championship a lot. I think he's very envious that I'm a champion and he's not. And I'll catch him every once in a while trying to, hold my title or put my title on. And I tell him, Sanjay, look, I'm a champion who worked really hard for this. You're not a champion right now. If you want to be a champion when you're fully recovered, go win a title, and then you can, we can be the announcing team that both have championships.
Good answer, man. Okay, what's a lot of our readers wanted to ask? What's the story with Chris Adonis? Why did he suddenly leave in the middle of the last shoot?
Again, I hate to keep saying this. That's a question you'd have to ask Chris Adonis. I don't know why Chris left. I know that he did leave. I know that it was in the middle of TV. All that happened, right? I don't know why Chris left. Chris and I are friends when we see each other, but we're not close enough friends for where I would text him and ask him, hey, man, I know you left. Is everything okay? I know he left. I know he didn't want to be there anymore. And, that's the great thing about life in 2018. If you don't want to be somewhere and you don't have to be there, you can leave. And, maybe he didn't go about it the best way, the most professional way, but Chris didn't want to be there anymore. I understand being upset or not wanting to be somewhere and leaving, and that's what Chris did, and that was his prerogative.
Okay, so when you guys were in India, one of the things that was spoken about was the fact that you'll be focusing on homegrown talent, and the fact that I mean something along those lines. Who are some of the talents do you think in the current roster that you'll be focusing along on at this point in time?
I think there's a lot of opportunities for talents to succeed going forward because, again, as one person leaves, that just opens up the opportunity for somebody else to step in and step up. And that's not to say that the current roster hasn't done that, or not to say that the current production team hasn't done that, but it's an opportunity now to get noticed more. Because as the pool gets more and more shallow and there's less and less people in the pool, it's an opportunity for somebody to go, oh, I really like what that guy's doing. And that guy may be thinking, hey, I've been doing this for years, or I've been doing exactly what I've been doing for quite some time, but now there's not another body in the way to see what those people are doing. So to give you an answer of names, I don't want to do that because I
Okay.
want to see who gets looked at, who gets noticed now that people like EC3 aren't going to be there, or people, anyone else that may have left recently, and then who fills those voids and who we're clamoring to see on TV for the next 6, 7, 8 months.
Right. But again, speaking about homegrown talent, what do you think of Austin Aries coming in and winning the strap in a minute? I mean, do you think that kind of defeats the purpose of, nurturing talent? Because Eli Drake was incredible as champion, in my opinion. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I thought that Eli Drake was a great champion, and I think that Austin Aries coming back and winning the championship in less than a minute, it should make Eli Drake upset, and it should make Eli Drake want to compete for that championship even more. But when you look at the current situation revolving around the World Championship, you know that at Redemption on April 22nd, you're going to get a first-time ever match between Austin Aries and Alberto El Patron.
Right.
We just had a first-time ever match between Austin Aries and Johnny Impact. That was the main event show. That was a great match. And, you have these guys all vying for the opportunity to become world champion. Eli Drake is still there. Eli Drake may find out that he's got a briefcase with a world championship contract in it on Thursday,
Right.
as a result of Feast or Fired. So he can get right back in the hunt. Did I think Eli Drake was a great champion? Yes. I think Austin Aries is also a great champion. I think that Alberto El Patron will be a great champion. I think Johnny Impact would be a great champion. So you have different opportunities and different guys, and they all do different things and bring different things to the table. Eli Drake brought a lot of great things to the table as champion. Austin Aries will bring great things to the table as champion, and we'll just see who holds on to it, who wants it the most. It's a lot of fun right now as a viewer.
Absolutely. Okay, something for my personal satisfaction. Why isn't Matt Seidel ever a part of the weekly teleconference calls?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll ask Ross why Matt Seidel. I think that Matt's been on one or two of them, has he not?
No, never. From the very start.
All right.
I
Well,
I had a one-on-one opportunity with him once, but never on a conference call.
I'll tell you, that's a question for Ross Foreman. It sounds like Ross needs to really step up and do. That you're talking about people stepping up. I'm going to have a talk with Ross about stepping up and making sure that Matt Seidel gets on that weekly teleconference.
Okay, what's your personal take on taking a real life situation like Eddie Edwards' injury and making it this full blown storyline that the whole world is talking about? Is it comfortable as an employee who sees somebody in so much pain to make this happen?
Comfortable, yes. It's because Eddie walked away. A miracle happened, and Eddie walked away completely, other than being injured and breaking his orbital bone and shattering his nose and all the blood and all that. After that, Eddie is going to make a full recovery. Eddie's going to have 100% vision. He's going to be just fine. So, and honestly, that what transpired, it wasn't taken by Impact as something that, okay, we're going to go full on with this, and this is going to be the biggest thing in the world. It was picked up by Outside Up. It was picked up by TMZ Sports. It was picked up by Bro Bible. It was picked up by PopCulture.com. What actually happened was picked up. The fact that Sandy Callahan took a baseball bat and smashed Eddie Edwards' face, that was picked up by these media outlets. And, Sammy had an opportunity to apologize. He didn't. Sammy said how he really feels, that this isn't ballet, this is a physically violent sport, and he took a baseball bat and he smashed a man's face in. And Eddie's had an opportunity to speak about it, and, we're just kind of watching as this story unfolds and seeing what's going to happen. I can't wait for WrestleCon. I can't wait for April 6th. I can't wait to see Eddie Edwards look to get his redemption on Jeremiah Crane,
Right.
and I Quit match. Eddie's got a chance. This is a brutal world that we've all decided to be a part of, and brutality is going to play out at its finest on April 6th.
Cool. Okay. Now for some India-specific questions, tell us about the Desi Hit Squad. What is the whole idea behind that group? I think there was a press release sent out about that as well.
I think the Desi Hit Squad is something that is great for Impact Wrestling. You have Gama Singh, a legendary figure not only in India but throughout the entire world in professional wrestling. And Gama has put together a group of individuals that he thinks could take Impact to the next level, that he thinks could take Impact to bigger and bigger places. And the next time we come to India, will we see the Desi Hit Squad holding championship gold? Rohit Raju and the individuals that you're going to see over the next few weeks on Impact Wrestling, they have an opportunity to step up and they have an opportunity to impress Gama Singh and show the world that the Desi Hit Squad can, come to Impact and really take over and build some momentum, not only for themselves, but, for India, for all of their friends and family watching back home.
And you mentioned coming to India again. Of course, I've asked you this during the teleconferences, and you told me you don't know when it is. But you also mentioned that I think Ed Nordholm was in India recently. What was the purpose behind that visit? Can we expect something special?
Well, I don't want to. Again, I think the trip over for Ed and Sanjay was a business trip. Just like they make trips over to the UK to talk to our partners, to talk to everyone that that we deal with. It's nice to get in the same room with everyone once in a while and have those conversations. To me, it's an opportunity to think about when we will go back, and I hope that we do. I hope it happens soon. I had so much fun. I had a great time in India. I love being over there. So much so that I can't wait to go back. I'm not someone who likes to fly. So
Right.
I spent 6 hours in the air and to get over, and the way you guys treated us, it's a trip that I'll never forget, a trip that I'll tell my grandchildren about. It was just so much fun to be over there in Mumbai with all of you. And again, the hospitality that you guys showed us was extraordinary, beautiful, and I can't say enough good things about India.
Okay, final question. I think we've reached the 15-minute mark. What's the best match that you've called in your career? One best match that you remember?
I'm sorry, the best match that I called.
Yes, absolutely.
There's been so many matches that I've called over the years that at this point in my career of doing this for so long, I have personal relationships with so many, different wrestlers and athletes. It's always special for me when I get to call one of my wife's matches, Madison Rain, and to see her and her career and everything she's done and accomplished. That's a husband calling his wife's wrestling match. It doesn't
Right.
happen very often, if ever, and it's something that I have to choke back emotions when I'm calling her matches because she's so talented, so good, so gifted that I just those are the ones that stand out to me. The ones that I have a personal attachment to are the ones that I feel closest to calling. And I've been grateful because I've spent so much time with our talent. So Eddie Edwards, I consider him a great friend and calling his matches. And once you get that attachment to a character or a person, it just turns your call up 1,000 notches.
Cool. Okay, it's been great talking to you. Can you give some spiritual advice for your fans in Mumbai?
Spiritual advice to my fans in Mumbai: just keep your chi centered. You always want to keep your chi centered. Take deep breaths. Do yoga. I really am a spirit guide, so it's going to take more than just a couple of quick things. If the fans in India want to send me money, I will gladly give them advice, but it comes at a very high price.
It was great talking to you as always. I